They claim like 550 brake horsepower, which I think is impossible. I've stressed this too many times, like guys out there are building cars based upon internet facts. What it is, the gearing is so long on this. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the NVM channel. Today it's a bit of an N55 day. Hope you enjoy it.
Don't matter if you cars for the road or tracks. Mexico on the lanes or Dunnington doing up laps. Car man, I got maps doing up maps. Maximum power, cars get gapped. They got tuners, we got tuners, but their tuners are loader. Man got the map, what kind of map? Best boat map, fastest lap. Zoom in, pass, don't watch out, big man map. 3 maps, take a passenger seat, watch a man collapse. Foot to the floor, rev to the max. Team come through like axe. All you see is flames, all you hear is pots and bangs. Subscribe and like, the visual's nice. With times in the cam, the drive is right when programmed by the MV gang. He's doing it well, he's doing it right, and they can't do it like man. NV Motorsport, it's in the game. Gang.
So obviously NVM, we are home of the N55s. This car's got a Venom 550 plus turbocharger. Now Venom turbos are new to the game. In the BMW scenes, they have worked with other vehicles, but it'll be interesting to see what sort of power this can produce if it's built correctly. So this car's already got some upgrades on there, as well as a hybrid turbocharger. Now this hybrid turbocharger is not one we've mapped before, so we have no idea how it's going to respond to any sort of increase in power. It's got a Frankenstein B58 TU pump. Now we're not a huge fan of the TU pumps on the N55 because it does have to be cut and shot to fit, and sometimes you do get fuel vapor leaks, etc. It's got an intake on there, and it's got a high flow downpipe and exhaust system. Also an upgraded intercooler and charge pipe. Being a 6-speed manual, the 6-speed manuals do suffer with clutch slip at stock power levels, let alone with more power, but this car's had a 6-speed S55 M3 gearbox upgrade. It is a tasty looking car. I love the G series G80 style wheels. I've not seen these before. They are obviously a replica because they don't make them in the 5x120s, but still, it's a good looking car with all the blue accents. Let's see if it goes well too.
Just going to do a full diagnostics on the vehicle. It's not running right at idle, so check all the fault codes and see what was on there. So I've just scanned the car, it's come back with O2 sensor, also got 0 gear sensor, short circuit, and again mentioned that the car is running rough at idle. I'm going to pull out the plugs, check the plugs, and I'm going to also check the live data with the O2 sensor. Okay, so I've taken out the spark plugs. As you can see, the spark plugs are worn, they're pitted, signs of it overfueling, and there is oil on them. The oil's on there due to the cam cover leaking. Customer did state he changed them 3 days ago, but they haven't been changed a couple of days ago. So gone ahead and got new spark plugs, and these will be going in and it should be idling better. So yeah, we're gonna fix the connector on the O2 sensor, and the fault code should go, and we're just taking a backup of the ECU.
So looking at the ECU software, it does look like it's been messed with before, so we will have to do a full BMW update on there, start from scratch and get this car running as it should be, stick out the dyno and start our tuning. What does worry me slightly is the misting of oil around the turbocharger and on the plugs, but again, like I said, these cars are built by the customers and brought to us just for tuning, and 9 times out of 10 we do have to fix and repair things, but let's get tuning. Well, that's good to see. I mean, completely stock ECU software back on the car with this hybrid turbocharger and full bolt-on, 333 brake horsepower, 470 Nm of torque. There's hardly any turbo lag, which tells me that this turbocharger isn't as big as what we probably presumed. But I'm going to chuck a base map on there and cap the wastegate and see what sort of boost levels it's kind of happy at, and then take it from there. So kind of base levels 1.1, 1.15 bar of boost, and it's just around 402 brake horsepower and 580 newton meters of torque. And again, there's hardly any turbo lag, so this kind of shows telltale signs that the exhaust has got a bit more back pressure than what it should do. When you go stage 3 on the N55, it's so important to reduce as much back pressure as possible so you can bring in the power right at the top of the rev range, where these N55s sound absolutely sick. And now we are starting seeing a reduction in fuel pressure. So this tells me we're kind of at the limit of the B58 TU pump. Don't forget, this is a 99 run fuel, no additional mods, no meth injection, no E-blends or anything. And it's just around 429 brake horsepower and 614 newton meters of torque. I think there's more in it. It is starting to pull time in as the temperatures rise at the end. But yeah, I think this is going to be a bit of a mild hybrid. So I think that's going to be the end of it. We are literally struggling for fuel at the minute. But final results today on this Venom hybrid turbo, 99 run fuel, 449 brake horsepower, 682 newton meters of torque. So although the car has just made 450-ish brake horsepower, I think another 10 to 15 newton meters could have been had with our NVM turbo inlet pipe. This inlet pipe is full aluminium construction, has zero restriction, and helps with the stock turbo, let alone something with a slightly larger compressor housing. So I'll leave a link below in the description for you guys to go get yours.
Made a monster of you.
The turbocharger, I looked at the specs, they claim like 550 brake horsepower, which I think is impossible. A, because there's huge back pressure, and there's guys out there like, they've been using other tuning companies for their development work with their parasitic loss and dyno numbers, so they don't ever really get a true reflection as to what the car's doing with their, you know, development work turbo. But the size of the compressor and the exhaust turbine calculates to about 500 brake horsepower with meth. Obviously this car's strictly 99. You know, if someone was to fit this turbo, I'd advise a bigger intercooler, because the intake temperatures will rise in dramatically, and a bigger fuel pump. Reason being is because if the turbo comes in really quick, as this does, I think it's based on a Garrett GT28, if it spools up really quick, you haven't got the high pressure fuel pump spinning enough to create the fuel pressure required for that boost level. Been very tiresome on the dyno, but I think, I mean, look, it's a good turbo for an N55. Guys who are watching who want to fit a bigger turbo than the stock turbo on an N55, I think is a great kind of mild hybrid. Stick a bit of meth in there, a bit of ethanol, it'll make 500 brake horsepower, and a bigger intercooler, and a bigger inlet. But I've stressed this too many times, like guys out there are building cars based upon internet facts and not taking any advice and just dropping it to me and say, yep, 550 brake horsepower, please. Well, no. You've got high exhaust back pressure, which leads to high intake temperatures, and your turbo's bottlenecked because the size of the inlet elbow. So, yeah, what's the point? And it smells of oil, so. You know, the fine details in building a turbocharger, doing development work, you know, putting a turbo speed sensor on their EGT, working out exactly when it's, you know, running at its efficiency, is key, man. And that's what goes into our own turbos. If you want a 620 brake horsepower N55, there's only one place to go. But make sure you follow our advice, definitely. Because we are more than just a tuning shop, aren't we? But we're not Google, by the way. You know, 90% of the people calling up, asking for my advice and going somewhere else. Don't do that, please. Like, I am not Google. I only support my own customers. Once you're committed to me, you're loyal to me, loyal to the brand, then you'll get the best
VIP
advice
treatment
ever. Well, you said VIP, mate. What's going on in the VIP group? Guys, we have a secret NVM VIP group for our NVM clientele. It's a bit like Fight Club, isn't it? The first rule of the NVM VIP club is to not talk about the NVM VIP club. I've broken the rule. The NVM VIP group literally get the VIP treatment. They get a heads up on all the events in 2023. They get heads up on meets that we go to, and even end of the month events and deals. Yeah, it's crazy. So if you know, you know. That blow off valve is a nice sound. It sounds very almost Japanese.
Oh, slippery.
It's greasy, it's very greasy. And we're in a controlled environment. Do you know what I mean? We've got the
virtual cockpit feels amazing.
Yeah, it's all green screened, yeah. All green screened. We even put in police vans.
Oh,
It's far easier in an auto or a DCT. Putting your foot down, you don't have to worry about changing gear. But the gearing on this, look at this. Oh. People, when you drop your car off, please put a full tank in there, not half a tank. To get an N55 quick took us ages in the M2, remember?
Yeah.
We had to go for a bigger turbo, so it allows the cam to run more fuel pressure, so when the turbo does come in, fuel pressure hits demand. Stuff like that. I mean, it's a fine calculation with N55s. Especially like with the valve lift, the Vanos, you've got to make it all work. And I think these N55s work better at the top end than at the bottom end. So if you're going to make a turbo, make it laggy. It doesn't matter. If anything, the lag works in its favour, especially if you're running, you know, a smaller high pressure fuel pump. Whoa, hey! What it is, the gearing is so long on this. It's weird driving manual.
Yeah, baby!
Stress testing on these vehicles is very difficult. Fine tuning. People think we're out here having a hoon. We're actually data logging. Taking that data, making adjustments to throttle pedals, torque ramping. It's crazy. Guys, if you're watching this channel and you think we do this for a laugh, think again. We come out for a drive, take you guys with us, show you our data logging, show you how serious we are in tuning and how finite we tune. So leave a comment below if you appreciate that. If you don't, we won't film it. I do like a BMW gearbox. It's definitely
rare thing nowadays, isn't it?
It's getting rare, yeah, it's getting rare. Everyone's got an auto, ZF. Electric cars have no gears. So as Matt Armstrong would say, save the manuals.
Save the manuals. Hashtag save manuals.
Hashtag save the manuals. So there's a few advisories that I'm going to give Danny as we sign this car off. The data logs look clean, nice and repeatable and consistent. So I hope everyone enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and stay tuned. And if you're not tuned, give us a call and get tuned.